Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Grace. This time my presentation topic is about the intercultural communication. And after this presentation, I hope I can help you to better communicate with the language academy students from different cultures. And in the next 10 minutes, I will first introduce the culture. What is culture, and help you understand the similarities and the differences between different cultures. And then I will give you an example of how to communicate with American and Chinese students. Then, in the last, I will give you some useful tips on how to improve intercultural communication skills on a general basis. So let's get started. First, culture. What is culture? According to the Geert Hofstede, he's a very famous Dutch and a very famous and influential Dutch social psychologist and anthropologist. In his book, he said that culture is the collective programming of the mind, which distinguishes members from one human group from another. From this, you can see that the culture, people in some human groups, they share a lot of similar culture. And if people in two different culture groups, it means that they have a lot of things different. After knowing this, how can we identify those similarities and the differences in cultures? Here, I want to introduce Hofstede's theory about the cultural dimensions. Actually, there are a lot of indexes in this theory, but I just choose the three most important and which is especially helpful to the students in Language Academy. That is individualism versus collectivism, power distance, and uncertainty avoidance. It sounds a little bit academic, but I will try to explain it in an easier way. Individualism versus collectivism. It just means whether you want to be alone like this person or you want to be in group like these people. Usually in an individualistic culture, people tend to be more independent and they are more eager to show their own ability. While the people in the collectivistic culture, they usually gather together, and so they are less independent and they focus on the group performance. Power distance. You can see, usually in a high power distance culture, people usually have a clear hierarchy in the society, which means some people are very powerful while others are not so powerful. But in some culture, in some low power distance culture like United States, usually the power is distributed equally in the society. And people feel free to speak to both seniors and juniors. And then it's uncertainty avoidance. It just means whether you are willing to take risks. In some high uncertainty avoidance culture, people just think, oh, risk is so important, and I don't want to take risks to get any great profit. However, in low uncertainty avoidance culture, people they're willing to take risks so that they can get great profit or outcome. After knowing all this theory, I just want to help you to apply this theory to the real life. Here, I just gave two examples of Chinese students and American students because I think you will meet a lot of these kind of students in your future study. Here are some values about these three indexes. I don't want to explain much because you can see it directly on this table. I just want to tell you what kind of actions these two kind of students may do for example, in a team project. For example, in United States, students, they are more individualism, which means they are more independent and they are willing to show their personal ability. So usually they tend to be the team leader. However, Chinese students, maybe they want to be the team leader, but they want this team to be harmonious. They don't want to fight with each other, so they may sacrifice something. Like, okay, then I'll just be the team member, and the group performance is much important to the Chinese students. And then the power distance. In America, the students, they think there's a low power distance, so they are more likely to challenge the authority or to question teachers. However, in China, we are taught to respect the teachers. Usually, we do not question what the teacher said. We just think, okay, you said that, okay, then I believe in that. Then the certainty avoidance. These are quite common circumstances that usually American students, they put up with some innovative, but maybe not that practical ideas. However, Chinese students, they tend to give some safe, but a little bit ordinary suggestions. So that's what students may do because the culture influences them to do so. Each one, I think you have your own way of doing this. So I won't give you suggestions on what kind of things you should do or should not do, but I just give you a little bit tips of the intercultural communications which you might concern or you try to avoid. First is don'ts. These are 3 common mistakes that students might make during our communication in the language academy. First, students tend to ignore the cultural differences. For example, when I came to the United States, I just found, oh, people here, they eat the same food. They maybe eat, they have Starbucks and they eat McDonald's. They seem to be similar to me. But actually, beyond those similarities, there are a lot of differences, like we share different values. You should pay attention to find those kind of differences and to respect others. And then people, you should avoid to stereotype other cultures. Stereotype here means to oversimplify other culture. For example, we may see American people may maybe casual, but British people may be conservative. French people are very romantic. But is that true? Probably. But you can still find some American people, they are very serious. British people, they are not very conservative, or French people, they are not romantic at all. So you maybe can generalize them. Like they may be, some certain kind of people, they may have some characteristics. But you cannot say that certain people, they are like this. They just doing so. That's not good that's not good to improve your intercultural communication. And the third is, I think this the biggest problem the student may make is to feel superior to others. Always you can see in a group discussion, some people may say this kind of sentence like, oh, I think in my culture people usually do blah, 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 blah. Do you know that? I think this is kind of offensive because when you say this, it just implies that you think other people's way of doing things is not as good as your way. I think that you should try to avoid this. And then some do's. What you should do is to be patient to others and to yourself. You should try to understand others' culture and ask questions when you feel confused, because it's not you shouldn't feel embarrassed because asking questions can help you build up the intercultural knowledge. And be positive. We are here to learn English language, not to fight with each other. So we should avoid blame and conflicts. And then is to pay attention to your sense of humor, because your jokes may be another's insult. So pay attention. And then is respect. I think I have mentioned this a lot of times. Because respect helps create a more open and equal relationship with others. And last of all is to do some self-reflections. When doing this, you can see where you can improve in the future and in which aspects you did a great job. So that's my suggestions on how to improve your intercultural communication, and that's all. Thank you. If you have any questions, maybe you can ask me.